Hi, I'm Jennifer Quick, Soul Clarity Coaching. So today's video, I'm just turning on my camera because I was doing my morning meditation. I moved into my heart, all of that like I usually do. And then I went and connected with Spirit, did my clearing and my blessings and my gratitudes and all of that. And then I went and connected with my Pleidian Hybrid named Ishaila. Ishaila is... she's a Pleidian hybrid. She's relatively new to, well, I should say she's new. She's been with me for quite some time, but I'm just more recently understanding her connection with me and how to work with her more. And so I'm stepping more into service. So I connected with her this morning and I started asking her questions. And I let the conversation go about however it's going to unfold. And I grabbed my paper and I write it down, notes. And then as I was doing that, she's like, go turn on your camera and just talk. So that's what this video is me and Ishaila, having a conversation. So yeah, so I'm just going to go back in and contact her. Okay, Ishaila. So in the past, I've been working on letting her voice come through, and I don't think I'm going to do that in this video because I'm still not quite comfortable doing that. It's one of my things. I don't like giving permission to my physical body to something that's not me. Those of you who've been under trainings with me know I've talked about that in the past. But I am working on that with the Ishaila. So there'll be more about that in the future. But this particular one, I'm going to have the conversation with her and then repeat back what happens. So I'm going to go. So I am going up into. Okay, so I'm going to go. I'll close my eyes and talk as I do it. So I'm going up into the ethers. So I go into the Akashic field. And I connect with Ishaila, which I did earlier, and I already set my room and everything. And I'm welcome onto her ship. Now, I understand, so her ship is in orbit in our solar system. So our planetary alignment. I get personally, this is me, I get confused about the lineup of planets for it's like solar system and galaxies and constellations, and I get kind of confused on all the different terminologies. So when I say that her ship is in our planetary alignment, so the planets from the sun through Pluto, that area, and I understand her. She's actually a little bit more removed. So there are ships closer to us than what hers is. Hers is more between past Mars, on the other side of Mars, and further more towards Jupiter. Is that how the planetary Jupiter? Yeah, okay. Is what she says to me, more in that direction of orbit. So she's fairly removed. Which is also why she's more remote viewing. She is on a smaller ship than what the larger Federation ships are. She is part of the Galactic Federation, but she is not. She says something along the lines like it's not like an enlistment like we are with like our military enlist with something. It's not like that. She's an alliance with the collective that makes up the Galactic Federation. That's the best way I can describe it. So anyhow, so the question is, her ship is smaller than one of the big ones. It's not really small. There's much smaller ones that we do see. Some of the alien ships that we see very close to Earth and that people have sightings with, are actually smaller. Some of them are remote. Different technologies. A lot of them are not manned. They're also confused. Some of them are human made. Some of them are other species, aliens as we would say. But she's not of that vibration. She actually is a higher vibe. She says she vibrates in the 7th dimension. And I have videos on dimensions and sort of how they are and how I think of them. 7th dimension is where laws of creation are, and 7th dimensional beings tend to be quite etheric, and she does show me form, but she says it's not a form. She's not a form body like a 3rd dimensional body is. She's more what we would call as an etheric body. But she does have a look. She's very blonde, and she's got these spots, almost like leopard spots that come down here, but her hair goes over top of them, so you only see a little bit here and you see a little bit down here. And then she wears what she says is traditional clothing, and it's all presentation, she says. But the thing to note about her clothing is that there's an opening in the shape of a diamond over top of the heart. So much like this is kind of a shadow, like in our society, women often expose this area for cleavage. That's not what they do in their society. It's actually exposing the heart, because they communicate from heart to heart, and that's where their communication starts from. And most of their communication amongst themselves goes through the heart, and that's why this area is exposed, is because it's an awareness of that heart connection. And she says it's traditional, that it's been that way in their society for a long time, that the heart is not to be covered. So anyhow, that's that. So anyhow, one of the things I wanted to know today is, how can I increase my communication with her? So I get really frustrated because I talk to other people, and it's like, and I read stories of people having full-on visual communication with aliens, like sitting down and talking to them and things like that. And I'm like, I want that. I want to sit and have these conversations. I also, there's people that literally they sit down and they see aliens just like I see other people. Like, they have these conversations like other people in this 3rd dimensional place, and I'm like, I would love to do that. And then and I don't see them that way. I've seen aliens and I've seen shadows and I've seen things, but not like another person sitting with me. That's one of the things, is why does that happen for some people and not for others? Why? And then there's also people who channel, like Bashar, who it comes down and overtakes his entire body, and Bashar actually comes through. I think the man's name is Daryl, and uses his body fully to communicate, and it's like a totally different person. And I've done a little bit of that with Ishaila, but I'm not that comfortable with it yet. And there's actually one of the things I ran into recently, as I was actually doing that with my husband, and he wanted proof, and that freaked me out, and I'm not sure what that is. So I'm going to try and dive into a little bit deeper why that freaked me out. Okay, let me just go in there and start asking these questions. Okay, so the first thing, people who have the conversations face to face, like in 3rd dimensional form, they're not actually. So 3rd dimensional form beings they have to match the vibration, and there are only certain species of aliens that are in that vibration, and those are the ones that communicate one-to-one. They are further evolved with us, because I'm like, does that mean that they're caught in our negativity spectrum, say, right? Do they have those? Some of them do, she says, but a lot of them are actually expanded consciousness that have learned to hold resonance in third dimension. She says that is not her. She has never been in third dimension. In order for an alien species to come down and hold form in third dimension and sit and have a conversation, they must have at some point lowered their vibrations to become third dimensional beings, and she has not done that. Not all species do that. And then it also, in order to exist, they have to be comfortable at third dimension, which is actually what the Human Conscious Expansion Project is about. I think I understand that. So why do they choose certain people to talk to, like that seemingly have, you know, these people that, as I would say, is muggles? They're very, like, my question is, someone who is very third dimensionally oriented, on the physical, very physical plane oriented, they're not spiritual, they're not trying to reach out. Why does it seem so many of those people have these massive sudden awakenings and intense experiences, when there's others of us that have been working at this and interested and drawn to it and have actively been seeking that, and yet don't seem to get it? So what is that difference? Okay. So she says it comes back to soul contracts, agreements that your soul makes before it comes into their life, into this life period that we're having. And those contracts are actually contracted to be sudden and to be sharp. It's because the training ground and that they needed to be in needed to be very cut off from higher realms and very focused in third dimensional. That was their training period, so to say, was they're getting aligned on this planet. And then the sharpness of their spiritual awakening is because that shock actually sends out a vibration that shocks others into waking up. It's part of this process of them all coming, of the awakening that happens, and it serves that sharpness that awakens. It's actually quite jolting and dangerous. She says we would call it dangerous. It's not dangerous by a higher soul from her perspective, but from our perspective as a human, it can be quite a dangerous contract to fulfill, to have that sudden awakening, because it can lead to cellular brain damage, some sort of damage to the brain and to the coherence between the brain and the heart. It can damage the nervous system as well when it happens suddenly, and some people, it can lead them into what we would call mental illness versus awakening. Okay, so it is a dangerous thing that a soul, from a human body perspective, it's dangerous. From the soul's perspective, it's not. But it's the jolt, and that jolt serves in waking up. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. I get that. So that explains why. So okay, so what about those of us that are actively seeking this and yet struggling to get that connection? So why is that? She says that is a more, that's actually a less dangerous, because it doesn't cause mental illness damage necessarily to the same degree that is possible when somebody has the jolt awakening. When someone's awakened from a young age and has this pull and inspiration towards seeking spiritual growth and spiritual connection, they walk a path that is healing the human consciousness. It's like, it's the opposite of that jolt awakening. It's now almost like the cleanup of healing human history, because we have to end cycles. And so souls that are waking up on a slower basis, and or more mechanical, or more there's so many different variances as how they do it. I often say I've been about it more mechanically. Other people are a little bit more in just kind of rolling with it, I guess. I don't know how to say that, but just they go with it a little bit in a different ease. It's fulfilling the different roles that they come into their power. They come into their influence, but it's part of their growth process, because they're actually healing and ending the cycles of humanity. So they're actually doing the healing work more throughout their lives. It's a healing path. So I kind of get that. Okay, I understand that. I can understand. I can see that, because what we experience is every time we heal something within ourselves, it actually sends out that vibration and frequency. That frequency which somebody else's vibration can connect with. Okay, and so that's how when we do healing ourselves, it actually becomes a vibration that somebody else will heal from as well. So it helps to clean up the collective vibration, right? As well as making ripple, like a pond ripple, for in the collective, but at the same time it provides a guidance for somebody else on the pursuit, somebody else in their healing journey. I hope that made sense. I understood that, but anyhow, so what was okay? So that's why it's more of a slower awakening, and really the struggles we have is so this is my frustration, is I've struggled so much and had to do this so mechanically, and I've had so much resistance into it and everything. So why is that, and why? Okay, it immediately comes out. It's because it's working through my fears. And it is a path of healing. So in my family, I've had mental illness, and understanding a lot of the different healing, that being able to heal because I've gone about things so mechanically, I can heal some of the deeper fragments that happen to people as they go on their awakening journey. And that was part of my lessons to learn, which is why I've had to learn it. I've been so resistant in learning it, and I've had to really face my fears, which were activated through the way I grew up, and that's how it goes for everybody. It's activated through how we grow up, that what we're exposed to as we go through our lives. Okay, well that kind of makes sense. I get that. Okay. So how can I increase it? So that's my next one. And how can I open up and bring in more channeling? And okay, so how can I increase? Okay, so it's about me surrendering my fears and having faith and trusting in what's coming through and following through with the guidance I'm given. Okay, and so for myself personally, giving faith and guide to the guidance I'm given, because I've done the work to put in my frame so that I'm clear on who I'm communicating with. I have to have confidence in that clarity of who I'm communicating with, because I've done the work to establish that. Okay, so I get that. Okay, because I've also faced really dark agents. I've dealt with dark agents of chaos. And so I really needed to have my protocols in place to know that when I am communicating with spirit, I can trust in that I am communicating with spirits aligned to love, light, compassion, source, versus spirits that are camouflaging, but actuality is that they are agents of chaos, which serves more into the darker negative realms and really dark forces. Okay, so that makes sense. That's very true, and I can trust in that, and I do have a lot of faith in that, and as I have more faith in that, it opens up. Okay, so that makes sense as to why I'm channeling more now than I consciously than I used to, so that makes sense to me. So then, and so to increase it. Okay, so then I have this question: is the proof? How? So the other night when I was trying to channel a little bit with my husband, and I was like answering his questions, and I was kind of getting comfortable with this, and he wanted proof. He wanted somebody, he wanted some form of truth in the physical world. And my whole body went into a full shaking, and it cut the connection. I tried to do it. I pushed myself to open up my energy field to allow more of Shaila's energy to come through, and it left me really, really shaken. Like it's like, when you shiver and you're cold and your skin's cold and you have the shiver. I felt like that, but on the inside. It was really bizarre, really uncomfortable, and it's the reason why I'm now going, oh, okay, what was that? And I don't want to do that again. Okay, so I'm just going to ask her, what was that? Why does that happen? Okay, so my vibrational match was not open enough for her to lower her vibration into this realm. Again, she's not a third dimensional being. She never has been. She's seventh dimensional. So I'm like, well, then why can't you appear etherically? Like, do see you etherically? And that's the clairvoyance ability. And I have a tendency to see things inside versus outside, which is just the way I'm designed, she says. Some people are designed. He needs to develop. So for somebody to see and connect with her, she's open to it, but he needs to develop his own connection and clairvoyance. He has clairvoyance ability more outwardly more than I do. I have mine as more inwardly, and mine is more sensory than his. His is more clairvoyant than mine. So that's what happened between the two of us. Okay, all right, I could see that. So then how do I know that I am communicating with a higher being and not just lost in my own imagination? There's a good question. How do I know the difference? Okay, so how do I know the difference of whether, let me just ask that. Okay, whether I am lost in my own imagination or if there's actual real. She says, I keep getting the word creativity. Okay, so she's saying that we have been taught, I've been taught, imagination is not real, and yet imagination is what has inspired humanity since the beginning. And there's a difference. There's science, creativity, philosophy, poetry, language. All of that originates from imagination, which is, it's basically thought or consciousness above the monkey brain of TikTok thinking. And that when we go into, many of us write off as non-existent our imagination, and yet imagination is our inspiration. Imagination is where we connect with higher realms and our higher selves. So this needing to separate channeling, communication with higher beings, really she says, even telepathy. Our telepathy is actually shut down because we are so hung up on this idea that imagination is something to be disregarded. It's not real. When in actuality, imagination is very real. It is how we glimpse into the different dimensions and the different realms. And so we actually need to embrace imagination more and let the guidance be our choice of whether we're aligned to love or we're aligned to fear and darkness, chaos, fear and chaos, love and compassion, fear and chaos. That's the spectrum. And so when we're in imagination, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, because if we're in imagination and we're inspired into the direction of towards love and creation, why do we need to disregard that as something that's not true? Why can we not allow that to come? We make it true when we ground it through our third dimensional. So what is it serving? So that's what is our, when we have to stop questioning whether our imagination is real and just ask what our imagination is serving. Is it serving the light, or is it serving the darkness? Is it serving fear? Is it serving love? Well, that makes, okay, I like that. I like that. So that goes again, like so many spiritual teachers, and I myself say this, and I probably need to say it more because I'm becoming more public. But really, honestly, anything I say and do and bring through in channeling, or anybody else, take it or leave it. That's the one thing. Our world is so full of information right now that it's really hard to know where truth is. And so the only thing that we can do is look for the truth from ourselves and ask, what is it serving? Is it serving love and compassion? Is it serving fear and chaos? So the opposite of compassion is chaos. Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to delve into that one later. But the opposite of compassion is chaos. Agents of chaos. Oh, I like that. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. I don't know if anybody else is satisfied with that. Leave a comment, send me a message, okay? And you take it or leave it. That's basically the bottom line. If it resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't take it. Just regard it. Let it go. But if you do like it, what I'm saying, please subscribe to my channel and like this video, and maybe share it with somebody else that you think might enjoy it. Okay. I think I'm done. I'm gonna thank you, Ishala. Ishala, I'll be back. Obviously, I channel. Thank you. Thank you to anybody who watches this video. I really appreciate you, just you, the viewer, anybody who's watching this. I appreciate it. I really do. I love you all. Bye.